We're going to be chatting with the man himself. He's live in Minnesota. Let's get into it right now. How you doing, YIGIL?
Hey, what's going on with you, buddy? How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad I got your name right that time because, you know, I'm rubbish with names. But it is YIGIL ARLIS, and that is it's Hebrew, isn't it? For what does it mean?
It's YIGIL ARLIS is Hebrew for redeemed as promised, you know. But it's a unique name, so definitely something that I got to introduce, you know.
Yeah, especially for me, man. But yeah, man. Welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate it, man. I'm glad you got me on here, man. So, you know, excited, you know, ready to give the people what they looking for and introduce some good music as well.
Yeah, definitely, man. So we're going to be showcasing, well, we have one of them, obviously, but there's 2 more tracks to come, and this is all new music from an up-and-coming project. Is that right?
Yeah. Everything that you're going to hear today is from the upcoming album that's releasing July 7th, which is actually called The Wilderness. And it's just basically a testimony of my life. It's a story of my life and things that I've seen and witnessed and also been through in my life that actually God has sent me through the wilderness to show himself real to me so I could actually walk into the prophecy that was prophesied in my life 25 years ago. So, yeah, it's definitely a blessing, brother.
Cool, man. So what was that prophecy?
I had a pastor, the pastor at my church actually prophesied that I would be doing work for Christ, you know what I mean, and doing outreach and reaching out to people. But, you know, with the prophecy, you know, you don't hear about the wilderness that you have to go through before you can step into that prophecy.
Yeah.
So it was prophesied in my life that I would be doing God's work, you know, and being a light and reaching out to people for him to help build a kingdom. I never knew that I would have to go through the trials and tribulations that I went through to make me the person that I am for him today. So that's what the wilderness is about, man. It gives you that behind-the-scenes look at my life and things that I've witnessed and encountered at the same time.
Nice one, man. Yeah, I mean, as you said, that kind of speaking to me a little bit, that's just kind of hit home and something that's happening with me recently. I was thinking the similar thing the other day, actually. I was thinking when I was doing like a Bible study in the morning, I always pray in the morning and read the Bible and stuff, and I was talking to God about a few things, and what you just said then hit home with me, actually. I think a lot of us got to kind of hear that message where when God's give us a vision, it ain't going to be straight away. It's like he's got to build with us. He's got to build on us, first of all. Like, we're a platform, and he's got to build on us. He's got to build us up. And when we're ready, then we can go forth and do what he initially gave us the calling for.
Yeah, definitely. It's not going to be easy, you know. So, you know, that's why you really got to lean on him through it all, you know, and just remember that, the promise that he gave you, you know, God is faithful. He's going to stick to that promise, you know. So even the good, bad, and the ugly, you know, just remember that promise, you know.
Definitely, man. And so when you were given that prophecy, were you a Christian when it was given to you, or were you not?
You know what? I can't really say that I was. You know, I was going to church, you know, and things like that with my mom or whatever. But the belief was there, you know what I'm saying? But I really didn't have a real relationship with God, you know, so it was more religious compared to relationship. So at that time, man, I really couldn't even say that I was, you know, even really walking with Christ, you know. And at that time, I endured a lot of things, you know, going through life from the prophecy and just, you know, drugs and, you know, hanging out with the wrong crowd and things like that, man. And, you know, the background is endless, man, in and out of jail, just doing things that was crazy, you know. So I really can't say that, you know. It's funny because I call myself a habitual backslider because I've said the sinner's prayer probably about 6 times, and I've been baptized about 4 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, I can't really say that my walk really started until about 2013 when I really understood what a personal relationship with Christ meant other than religion. So I would say no, man. You know what I'm saying? But the belief was there, and I knew how real God was. Not to have that personal relationship with him definitely didn't make me, you know, a faith walker or however you want to put it, a Christian or you know, walking with Christ. But I wasn't at that time, you know.
So would you say that right now you've gotten to the point where that prophecy has come true?
Yeah, it's wild, man. Even when I talked to my wife about it, and I actually spoke with the pastor that did the prophecy, that you know, God showed him the vision. I spoke with him a couple of weeks ago, and I told him, I'm like, man, I'm actually living the prophecy right now, you know. And it's crazy because, like, even when I started doing you know, gospel music, I didn't look at it like that until one day I just stopped, you know what I'm saying? And God was like, you're living the prophecy right now. And I was just like, wow, you know, that's crazy, because that was like 25 years ago, and I never seen it coming, you know, and the way that he brought me around full circle and brought me back to where I am now, it's awesome, you know?
Yeah, man. And so was the prophecy like completely about you being a music artist for the gospel? Was that the prophecy?
No, not necessarily the music. God definitely blessed me with the talent to put words together and do music, but we also do clothing outreaches, and you know, we have a clothes ministry, and we're starting up a food ministry as well. I was homeless for about 4 or 5 years, so my heart definitely goes out to the homeless as well. So that's another part of the ministry, you know, is food and clothes, and we do a little bit of me and my wife, we do a little bit of relationship counseling too, and it's full circle as far as just being a light for Christ, you know, and showing people the example of Christ. So it's not necessarily just music, but you know, it's working for God at the end of the day, because if somebody needs clothes, we got them. Somebody needs a meal, we got them. So it's full circle.
Yeah, man. And that's all done in Minnesota, right?
Yes, all done in Minnesota. We also have a partnership out in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is Refuge One. They do GED testing for people, help them with job interviews and job resumes. They also do food and clothing as well. And we also are partnered with another group down in Houston, Texas, and this is all in the States, called YIGIL, YAHKIKS, YIGILS.com. They are the first faith-based apparel and shoe company. So their shoes are called Yahshua Kicks, and they have Yahshua apparel. And anything that's purchased from them, all proceeds goes to hungry kids in the inner city, and you know, help clothe them as well. So it's from Minnesota to North Carolina to Texas.
Nice one, man. Nice one. Cool, man. So you got a lot of stuff going on. So obviously you made it. You kind of made it now then, right? You've gone through the wilderness, so you've gotten to the point where the prophecy has come true. So what was it back when, in the day of the prophecy then? Were you kind of like involved with dodgy stuff then, or was it just like normal life, you just weren't into it kind of thing?
Nah, you know, it was definitely a wilderness, man, and definitely a storm, you know. Ran away at 15, man. Been to juvenile detention centers, and been in group homes and everything, and been involved with gangs and drugs, and even in my adult life, you know, a lot of jail time. Been locked up a lot of times. At one point, it seemed like I was getting locked up every other week. I know my mom is listening to this. It was times that I didn't even call her, so she don't even know about half these times. So.
She finding out now, man.
yeah, definitely finding out now. But you know, yeah, man, it was definitely a lot of things that I did. I was real rebellious growing up. You know, real rebellious, and it was all because of trying to fit in and you know, be something that I wasn't. And that's one thing that I love about doing gospel music, is that I can actually be myself, and I don't have to worry about, you know, portraying myself to be something that I know better than, or something that God has not intended to be in my life. A lot of the music that I did on a secular level is a reason why I started to be so rebellious, because I rapped about certain things, and it was one of those instances where I can't be rapping about something that I'm not about, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. If I'm rapping about drugs and doing this and that, then I felt like I had to really live that out, because at the end of the day, I didn't want somebody to say, oh man, well, you know, he's not living up to what he's talking about. So with me doing gospel music, you can definitely look and say that, hey, he's living what he's talking about when he's talking about helping the kids and you know, feeding people and clothing them and being a light. You know, you can really say that, you know, he's doing that, you know, and it's no pressure. So I'm definitely thankful for that, man, and that's why I love doing the gospel music. But yeah, man, I was rebellious, man. I was off the chain, man, you know, for a minute, and God reeled me back in, you know, and it's only by His grace that I am where I am. I've been in some situations where my life has almost been taken on a couple of occasions, and God got me out of those, you know. So it was either keep doing what I was doing and end up in a box, or go ahead and submit to Him and start doing what He's intended me to do.
Yeah, man, for real. And was the music aspect like all the way through your life?
Yeah, definitely, man. My pops, man, my dad, he used to, he DJ'd and played drums and stuff like that. And, I grew up on a lot of old school music, and music was a way for me to learn at certain times. That's how I learned my phone number, my address, things like that growing up. So music has always been a part of my life. And then, I really started getting serious with it, around high school and, really wanting to make a career out of it, and got to a point where I was dealing with a lot of major labels. I was getting distribution through a lot of major labels, and definitely doing some underworld work for a lot of major labels. We won't talk about that, but, it got to a point where music ended up being a real dark cloud in my life at the same time, if anybody can understand what that means, because doing secular music is the sex, drugs, and rock and roll is real. It's not just a saying. You know what I'm saying? So even my love of music had at one point became a dark part of my life too. You know what I mean? So even when I rededicated myself back to Christ, I didn't do music for a while until I felt like I had started to be called for it and got confirmation from him to start doing it again.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of people wouldn't understand what you meant, because obviously it's like, when it's all that stuff included, it kind of takes over, and then that kind of raw passion for music kind of fades, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And then next thing you know, you doing stuff that you said you never do. You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, you're compromising yourself in a lot of ways that you thought you wouldn't. And it's real easy for that music industry to kind of entrap you into another lifestyle that you never thought that you would live. And next thing you know, it's not even about music no more. And now the passion is gone. So I can totally relate to anybody that's going through that. So that's why even when I started walking with Christ, I was like, well, I'm not doing music. But I had people saying, man, you really should, and you should use the gift that God gave you to give him the glory and help build a kingdom. And I still didn't do it until I got full confirmation from him, where he was just like, you know what? One day I was in here and he said, man, it's time to get back in the booth. And I hit it hard, man, and dove head first, and doors have been opening up. Look at me now, man. I'm doing an interview in the UK. You know what I'm saying? So definitely glad I answered the call.